Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Drahcir here with a fellow YouTuber, fellow man of history and strategy, a fellow fan of Warhammer. I give you the Lord John. Would you like to give a hello, introduce yourself, and say a little about your YouTube channel?
Sure. Hello there. I'm Lord John. I guess I mostly do Mountain Blade over at the Lord John channel, and yeah, that's about it, I think.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so let's crack right into these hard-hitting questions then, just get into the meat and potatoes of it all. Have you played any Games Workshop or Warhammer lore-based games before?
Yeah, I've done some of the tabletop. And there's like I can't remember what it's called. It was an old game, and I had thought about, because you present some of the questions or all the questions, but I can't remember. I remember some of them, so I thought, I'll try to pick up everyone. But the one besides the actual like Warhammer. Oh yeah, Warhammer, like the fantasy roleplay stuff.
Oh, okay, yep.
I've done that as well.
I love second edition myself, so.
Yeah, second edition.
Oh yeah.
I did first edition, and then I did second edition. Let's see. The thing is, I had like the old bloody, what's it called? Mark of Chaos, was it?
Oh,
yes.
Yep.
That's one. But yeah.
Well,
Those are the ones.
Do you feel they all gave justice to the Warhammer IP and lore, and do you feel that CA may be able to carry over that same kind of justice, or do you feel they may actually miss the mark?
That's probably the things the thing I've been said to my friends and stuff ever since I played. It must have been Rome, the first one, that I said they should make one of the in the total. I mean, in the Rome. What am I talking about? The Warhammer universe. Now I'm all over the place. That I've always been thinking that would be perfect. Total War and Warhammer combined, make it happen.
Mm-hmm. I found it to be a match made in heaven. I was like, finally, I have all these years. I mean, I've been, a tabletop player myself, so I was like, this translates perfectly. We're moving blocks of regiments. Come on. So,
Yeah.
what was your first Warhammer experience? Like, what was your first bite into it? Like, who kind of introduced you to it? Like, what was your, like your first session kind of thing? Like, what's your roots?
I was thinking about this one as well, and it's quite far back. I can't exactly remember, but it's really early school.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'm 8 or 10, and we're staying after school, and my best friend back then had brought a White Dwarf magazine to school, and he just showed it, and we were sitting there looking at, look at that orc, look at that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point there, because we were supposed to be supervised by a teacher, but I probably went away to drink coffee or something and didn't come back. So we were left us three guys alone running around in the school. And so we decided to, because he explained a little bit about the game, because his cousin played 40K, I think. So he'd explained a little bit about it. We couldn't get a hold of any miniatures right then. So we snuck into the copy room, and we we used the magazine, and then we copied out loads of characters from within the magazine, cut them into shape, and then colored them. And then, we sort of, you died, and that orc, and this one, and so, and that probably is the first sort of introduction to Warhammer.
That's brilliant. Start him young.
Yeah.
So, do you feel that with Total War, and you feel that they're going to do well with this IP, do you feel that they'll actually take tabletop fans and really just kind of like give them what they want, and then vice versa? Do you feel that they'll take actually the Total War fans and then introduce them to Warhammer and actually probably grow the tabletop?
Well, that's the thing with tabletop, right? With the things that happened, I haven't really. It goes in waves, sort of. How my interest goes in Warhammer. it comes and then it peaks, and so for maybe the last years I haven't really done anything, so I haven't been on track with what's going on. And then I was just looking, um, because I actually got a call from a guy over in England that worked with Games Workshop, and they wanted, because I run a group, um, that sort of we advertise about our the little group I have that play Warhammer Fantasy
Mm-hmm.
role play.
Mm-hmm.
And so he called because he needed someone that played fantasy in my area, and to talk with some store owner and be like, sort of, because the store owner was worried that there weren't enough people playing Warhammer in the area, and the other group that he'd got onto played 40k, but this was specifically, I think, for fantasy, and he wanted someone to anyway, so I sort of started going back to this, and then I found out about this travesty called Age of Sigmar.
Yes, that's definitely a question we're gonna have to get into after this.
Yeah, but so when it comes to like pushing people over into the tabletop, that seems, because I'm not really sure what's really going on there, but it seems like, probably people will be interested and are like, wow, this, they probably will be interested in the Warhammer stuff. Probably not so much maybe in the miniatures when they see, because of the price and stuff like that. But they definitely bring in people to the Warhammer stuff. I was talking so much crap, I forgot the question.
It's all good. It was you answered it. It was how you feel that they might pull TW fans to playing actual tabletop, which you answered. So you hit the nail right on the heads. And you also brought up my next question, which is a great segue, which is about Age of Sigmar and the fact that right now the Total War lore is no longer the 8th edition that we know. Like the Total War Warhammer is based off 8th edition, but the tabletop right now is actually Age of Sigmar, which is after the end times, which is about 1,000, 2,000 years after actually the setting we have now. Which I myself kind of question why they would ever time it like this, but case may be. I guess kind of want to know, like, what is you said it was kind of a travesty. What's your feeling towards this kind of business approach that they went with Age of Sigmar right at the same time they released this big game?
For me, it, like, why? Because if you're gonna attract people with something like this, because this is gonna obviously get a lot of people, because once they first release a few videos on that, and there was so many comments underneath the YouTube stuff, what's Warhammer, what's so on, and probably people start to find out about it and the Warhammer Fantasy World, and then like boom, we killed it, and we're gonna do some sort of weak ass copy of 40k.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Everyone's calling them lovingly the Sigmarines. Because,
yeah, they look. I mean, the look of those miniatures.
Yeah, it's not my style. I don't think I'll ever pick it up. So, do you feel, sadly or positively, it depends how you want to view it, the Age of Sigmar might actually bleed its way into the not tabletop, but into the Total War franchise? That they might, one day do a DLC like, hey guys, check out these special units from End Times. They're completely silly, but you can play with them with this DLC.
I don't think it will make it into that game. Maybe if they make some other game, but I don't think, because I guess I haven't really seen how Sigmar thingy plays really, but if it's similar to 40k in the sort of more skirmish type,
yeah, it's very much skirmish.
I don't think that's really a Total War thing. So hopefully it won't bleed into that in any way.
All right, so guess now that we're on the topic of DLCs, how do you feel that right now the Creative Assembly is kind of hand-tied for the fact that everything is going to be DLC, and the modding community has been shut down, has been told Games Workshop has told Creative Assembly no modding. How
Yeah,
do you feel?
I was wondering that myself, what sort of modding thing, because I know about the Games Workshop not being happy with people. Yeah. No, so that's good to know that there's not going to be any modding, even though that's a little bit sad, I guess,
Hmm.
because I think that. Um, but yeah. Um, so DLCs. I'm not since they're gonna make 3 games. I think probably they're gonna make like the bigger ones. In but I'm hoping for like a splitting up of the empire, so you could like really feel all the different states.
Hmm.
Also, there's like the probability, I guess, that they could add in DLCs. Usually, what they do is they add in the non-playable or these
The
AI
AI, yeah.
factions.
Hmm.
Yeah. So maybe Bretonia
Hopefully.
and those kind of Kislev, maybe. That would be cool if they, depending on how the map looks. It seems I was a bit worried when they said that uh, that with the Blackfire Pass that it will that's Karl Franz will unlock the hammer
Hmm.
with that, and that was part of his quest line. That you would see something similar to maybe what they did in Napoleon, which didn't really have the sort of same free campaign as in the more sandboxy campaign. That you
Hmm.
would have to, you had this route to follow with it.
So I guess kind of going off that, with like how Caesar and Gaul kind of worked, do you feel that the DLC slash expansions will take away kind of the sandbox feel that we've had? Do you feel that this could be a positive direction for those who really like storylines, fluff, and getting into the Warhammer lore, but at the same time a major squash, I guess you could say, to those who want to kind of just make the empire as big as they want?
I think I think it probably will add to the sandbox once they add the stuff, because they said they will everything. What they said was when they release the 3 games that they will connect into each other and
Mm-hmm.
make it the world bigger. So most likely, if they are DLCs, that will make the thing bigger. So maybe there's sort of 2 campaigns where you can do the more storyline. I like the storyline of Napoleon to follow that, but it's not that big of a sandbox as say the other ones of Empire and so on,
Mm-hmm.
and medieval. Um, so yeah.
All right, so kind of going off of the fact that right now we only have the 4 starting factions. Um, are you kind of excited, or are you kind of sad at the fact that we are only going to get 4, but we're getting 4 with the promise? I can't, no guarantees yet, but the promise that these 4 will be completely radically different gameplay mechanic wise, and as well as looks, skeletons, and everything else going on with them.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about the fact that we're only gonna get 4 for, like, from start off. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be lots of add-ons with this. The thing that I'm a bit worried about is what faction they're gonna leave out. If they're gonna leave some factions out that's not gonna be playable,
Mm-hmm.
because that's when you want modders to come in and put stuff like that together. But uh, so not too worried about the fact that there's 4. I think they're gonna be different enough with the dwarves, the vampire counts, empire, and so on,
Mm-hmm.
um, for the first one, and then if they release DLCs, that might add some other smaller kingdoms in the area.
So I guess kind of going with that, what races do you feel actually might be included? Which do you feel might be excluded?
Um, I'm hoping for the elves, since I started
Mm-hmm.
with Warhammer, I did the dark elves, so I really want the elves to come in. Um, the thing, like, which ones I think that might not get in is stuff like the lizardmen,
Mm-hmm.
because of their location. They might get in like, uh, I think that's possibly one of the factions that might not get in. Same with the Tomb Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But I'm not sure. It's very early and it's very hard to say. But it's like faction that I would think that has a possibility of not being put in the game. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess if I had to say, what faction like are you gonna be most excited for out of the four, and then what faction would you 100% most like to see? You said the elves, I think, is the faction you're rooting for the most to be like the next kind of DLC faction, right? So out of the four
Yeah.
right now, then I guess what would be the one that you're gonna play the most out of is gonna be your go-to faction?
Um, I'll probably start with the Empire
Hmm.
because next to the Elven army I have an Empire one. Um, so probably Empire, and no, I'll probably test out playing them, but I've never really been so much of a fan of the dwarfs or the orcs.
Hmm.
And the reason why I would play the vampire guns is probably I play them now in Call of Warhammer, and it would be interesting to play them sort of for real in a
Hmm.
Total War. Um, but yeah,
All right.
yeah, it would be interesting to say with the orcs the way that they say you're gonna have to keep up the momentum to keep your army going in a way. That's gonna be very interesting to see how that plays out.
Keeping that warg going.
Yeah, keeping that going.
Well, I think that pretty much wraps up all the questions I have. Do you have anything that you would like to put on the floor, ask, or open up to the audience?
Not really. I think
All right.
no, not that I can think of.
All right. Well, then I do believe that wraps everything up. I thank you so much for your time. I look forward to seeing more of your beautiful work on YouTube. I'm a big fan of your channel. I would like. Do you have like a farewell or a general like ending phrase you like to give out?
I usually just say, what do I say? I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you for the next one.
All right.
That's what I usually say.
Well, hopefully we have another podcast here in the future, another little interview like this. When the
Yeah.
game does come out, I definitely want to, definitely do a follow up and kind of get your opinion, see what we talked about now, and first how it is. So, thanks guys for watching. Do check out Lord John's channel. All the links to his stuff will be down below in the description. Do check that out. Do click that. Do check out his channels. Like, favorite, subscribe to all the stuff. You will be 100% entertained. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you on the high ground.